Not necessarily every person that plays video games does speak English. I know, like, the majority of us that play Guns of Icarus right now do, but it is nice to have those, the non-verbal type of communication thing. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so Meta5 has a question, and I think we did answer it in previous weeks, but I'm going to ask it again because why not? Are you planning on reintroducing having other ships' players visible?
I think this is another one of those weekly questions.
Yeah,
At this point.
yeah. But you know what? They keep asking it, so I'm going to keep giving it to you guys.
Keep answering it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have some work to do as usual. I mean, we haven't done the technical work to LOD and make it performant, but that's still on the table. It's on our to-dos, so we'll try to get that done hopefully soon, so we don't get this like every week.
All right.
Keep reminding us. That's the best way to get features. Keep reminding us.
just keep bugging us, guys. It's cool. So No Wolfo asks. Okay, he says he already knows the answer to this question, but he still wants to ask. Any chance of being able to kick players from matches? Currently, we do have a mute function and a report function, but do you guys have any thoughts on that? For like abusive players?
We will. Right now, AFK results in a kick. The AFK timer is, I want to say it's 45 seconds, and that we felt like it's reasonable for a bathroom break and whatever, because the AI will kick in, right? Part of the work that we're going to do is to make AI kick in earlier, but also make you, when you come back, there's a little bit more of a spawn delay so you don't abuse AFK. So we'll do more work to improve AFK right now, and that's one, right? We will be able to create moderated matches for us and for like, I guess to some extent CA mods, and when we have, like, say, training events or tournaments or whatever, obviously we'll be able to have the ability to kick, and I think that's as far as, at least insofar, that's as far as we're going to expand the kick functionality too. We are not looking to make it kind of a game-wide feature, just because we are absolutely concerned about segmenting a player base, and also to introduce a lot of trolling by having the kick feature.
True. In a sort of related topic here, the Orangey also has a question. Are you going to implement some kind of button or thing that if someone disconnects, another player can instantly replace them? Currently, you have to wait 2 minutes for the player to time out and be kicked out to the lobby. But maybe let the player who leaves decide if it will be to free up a spot. Really long-winded way to word that, but
yeah, I mean, it's gonna be tough because if a player DCs for whatever reason, if say his internet just crapped out, obviously the assumption is for the player to want to get back into the game. And so, at least so far, our way is to have AI take over, and we want to make AI take over sooner and more effectively and efficiently. But I mean, if we say allow the players, if players actually go AFK or they get disconnected, I mean, if we allow other players to jump in, then the assumption for the player who DC'd is for him to have the ability to get back into the game, right? If that doesn't happen, I think it might create some problems with the players because the expectation will be set wrong. I mean, it's a great question. I think we'll need to think a lot harder about it.
Ooh, oh my god, this is a brilliant idea. Okay, Nerdell says, any chance for a semi-transparent map so I can steer the wheel and watch the map at the same time? Because I have hit so many buildings because I was looking at the map. You guys wouldn't even believe. I think that's an excellent idea.
We're actually, instead of doing that first, we're looking at improving our compass.
Okay. I kind of like how the compass is right now, so how would you improve that?
I mean, I think a lot of people who don't use it, and I think this is the majority, they just don't use a compass. One, it's very hard to read, so we're going to work on that first, making it actually like bigger icons, more contrast, so you can actually tell what's going on. You'll be able to tell who's an enemy ship, who's a friendly ship. You'll be able to tell, if a point is active or not, which ship is spotted perhaps, but I think once we get the compass in a usable state, then the reliance on the map, just having it open all the time, won't be needed anymore.
Okay. The transparency is a good idea. Also, as an alternative, I would maybe mini-map, similar to what you see in other MOBAs. Maybe it's just something in the bottom corner of the screen. Something like that. I think that's a really good idea. Something worth thought, anyway.
Yeah. I do want to point out that when Luke fired the 2 missiles into the Death Star, he took the HUD off.
That's actually a really good point.
I think our players need to learn to be force sensitive and learn from a great master.
All right.
I need my HUD on. But
Moving. Oh, did you have something else to say on that one?
no, I just said I need my HUD on, but I think a guy like Luke Skywalker can do it without the HUD.
You could learn.
I mean, the main thing is how do we keep the game as diegetic as possible?
That's an interesting word. You want to define that for me?
Diegetic is as it basically means, does it fit in the world? Like,
Okay.
something that is not diegetic is having a UI pop up. That breaks the immersion.
Okay.
But something that would be diegetic is if there was a bell sound somewhere on the ship to alert you of some status. That could possibly be diegetic. Someone is ringing a bell on my ship. Oh, okay, I get it.
The hole's down.
Right.
It's the
Ding,
whole
ding,
bell.
ding, 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 and not just a UI that pops up.
Okay. That's interesting. See, I learned something new today. Learned several new things today. Actually, today is just like a education.
So one thing is that I would argue that a mini map is not diegetic.
Okay.
Like, I'm
That-
steering
yeah,
the
no.
ship, right? I can't open the thing and look at it and steer the ship.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
going.
No, I completely understand that argument. That makes sense. Okay, really good question here. Deluxe Fob asks, why do AI pilots sucks? And the way that he phrased it, why do the AI pilot sucks?
Wait, AIs can fly? I didn't even know that.
They suck because they can't fly. That's
Eh.
that's the
They'll,
simple
they'll,
answer.
they'll just sit there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they just sit there.
But-
But I mean, if
But
you
hey,
surrender,
co-op mode, right?
yes,
they're-
Co-op mode. So there
the
you go.
gunning is pretty good. I mean, I've approached a galleon when, say, a ship surrendered, and I got mauled by the AI. That's happened. Absolutely happened before.
It would be great as a spectator. No, wait, that's not a good question. That's not even a question. Okay, will you add the possibility for a gunner to take a gun which is being used by an engineer or a pilot, like you can do with an AI player? So, can you is it a possibility for the gunners to have a priority over the guns, like over an engineer?
That's a great question. I was just thinking about this over the weekend for some random reason. It just popped in my head. But I think Eric will be... I don't want to answer, or at least offer any sort of answer and have Eric and Matt be shocked. So,
I mean, I would say that it's a possibility. It's an interesting option there, but it causes a lot more problems than the pilot taking over. Because I'm assuming that the pilot, everyone agreed that they're supposed to be driving. I think in that one specific case, it's acceptable. But everyone else, it's a little bit it's iffy. It's iffy. So I'm not really sure. It is something to consider, though, definitely.
Okay, and getting back to, we had the diagenics conversation just earlier. Rocketh asks, can specs be shown by pressing tab? Can that be added as a feature?
What specific specs?
So for example, if you're playing a game like Team Fortress or League of Legends or something like that, if you press tab, it shows the amount of creep score you have, for example, in League of Legends, how many kills, how many deaths, how many assists. So for Guns of Icarus, could be, for example, an engineer, hull repairs, hull rebuilds, engine repairs, engine rebuilds, hull armor stripped, kills. Any number of stats, I suppose, that you could track in Guns of Icarus to see how well a particular player is doing.
Yeah, I mean, we track all of those things. So, and we are working on improving at least the end of match screen, but pretty much the end of match screen is the tab screen. So,
Okay.
it's a possibility that some of those numbers will make it in.
All right. Very cool.
I also like how many people are yelling at you now, Fade, because
What am I
apparently
doing?
can you see spectators by pressing tab, not stats?
Oh.
Oh,
Oh. My bad. I apologize. I still feel my idea is good too, though.
yeah. So with tab, yeah, sure, why not? Spectators, you can see if there are any spectators in the game. More importantly, something that we're definitely working on is that when you're a spectator, when you press M, you will be able to see where your camera is.
Oh, that's helpful somewhat for spectating.
Yep.
Like if you're doing casting or anything like that, or for example, you're doing a Guns of Icarus video from the spectator perspective. That's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
exactly.
Very good. All right. I think that's roughly about an hour now. I don't see any other questions really coming
Well,
through. Just people making
So
fun of Fade.
there was one. It's been asked twice. I want to make
Oh.
sure it gets answered, so
Go
we're not
ahead.
ignoring anyone.
Yeah.
Because someone from I4 was asking about game localization.
You mean to different languages?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I mean that's absolutely on our to-dos, but it won't happen right away because we just have more work to do to make all the text dynamic, so we can actually, just just get people to translate, so we can actually roll in the text. It's going to take us some work, and it's going to be painful, but it's been on our to-dos, so we'll have an eye out, especially when we expand our servers hopefully in the near future to just different regions, like maybe in Russia or in Japan or whatever. Then obviously we'll think more about localization, but there's some work ahead. And we haven't forgotten about it.
All right. Anything else before we close out for today? Anything you guys want to plug? Anywhere you want the players to take a look at today? Check the forums, guys. Basically the forums. What I'll do, I'm going to drop a link into the chat here where if we missed your question or you come up with another question, you can just leave a post on that thread that I'm going to link here. And that's how we'll get your questions next week.
We'll be ready to get people to test on DevApp again pretty soon, sometime next week. And so just basically keep a lookout for it. We'll make an announcement when we're ready, and when that happens.
There's
This weekend.
there's a Guns of Icarus experimental crew group. If you join in, I put all the messages out whenever we're going to test everything, so you don't have to hop in there and be alone. Like try to test against practice dummies. You can actually shoot people with it, and then let us know if it shoots well.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of exciting features this week, coming in next week, and some fixes and stuff as well. And for people who are ever wondering like why we're working on new features and not making fixes, well, I mean, we're always trying to do both at the same time. So it would be awesome to get people in sometime next week to start testing. It'd be fun.
Excellent. And before we leave, then, Kavais, do you have a link to the Steam group, the testing Steam group, so that people can get involved?
Let me grab it quickly.
And what we'll do, we'll put that down, and you guys can test out the new content coming out in the next couple of weeks here. And, give us some feedback. Once again, feedback at Muse Games or on the forums or directly here in the Dev Live Fire, which is every week on Friday.
So I'm going to guess that we're going to have new DevApp people. So mainly the way I do that is it's directly on the forum. If when Keyvias gives you access to that, you'll have access to the forum. Please read my instructions in the post very, very carefully, because this is serious work that's being done, and I need your utmost attention in providing the most meaningful feedback to me, so I can actually get fixes done. So basically, like, no arguments about like what gun is better. The basic idea is this is a scientific test. You play the game, you send feedback, I make a fix. You play the game, you send feedback, I make another fix.
So, in short, leave the drama to your mama.
Exactly. Thank you. Drama to your mama. Exactly. Yeah, dev app is really, really important to us. So